The key to the logic of the objective nirvana samsara non-duality and the corresponding subjective wisdom compassion non-duality is the Buddha's experiential discovery of voidness or emptiness. He critically examined the nature of all things with his long-term cultivated, we could say atom-smashing, electron-accelerating, supernormal concentration, focused on analytically and experientially taking things apart to find their essential core. He then discovered that no physical or mental thing can withstand such ultimacy-seeking analysis because they are all made of ever smaller components and components of components, etc., down into the microverse. He found that they finally dissolve under analysis and so are understood experimentally, experientially, to be empty of any intrinsic reality, objectivity, or identity. A very simple analogy of this that you can do in a thought experiment yourself in a split second is that the concept of a point in a Cartesian graph. When you see a dot at the XY position, you know that's not a point, but a small circle. If you analyze it to find the exact XY position, you would realize that there can be nothing visible there. It will disappear because the actual point has no size to be precise. So that's like a discovery of the emptiness of the point. Very simple. You can just think about that for a second. Now, the conclusive experiment, or full experience, is that of everything dissolving into an empty field, just like you not finding a point when you see the dot there. Mental and physical self and world become vast like empty space. You sort of go through that non-presence of the point, and suddenly everything is like that. It's only thought to be there, but when you actually try to pinpoint it, it disappears. Further, such a vast field, now this is very important, such a vast field being itself empty of any intrinsic, objective, identifiable reality, itself susceptible to the momentum of analytic dissolving, revelationally disappears itself. So the disappearing field disappears back into the illusory net or tapestry of relational beings and things, which are eventually found again as just magically or illusorily being indivisibly one with it in all its multiplicity and variety. At this deepest level, called that of non-duality, the sheer bliss of breaking utterly free into the space of transcendence suffuses imminently the limitless experience of whatever variegated streams of life still flow there, and spontaneously responds medicinally and creatively to the predicaments of misknowing and therefore alienated beings, painfully unaware of the blissfulness constitutive of their own natural presence. Now, this is like when you discover the nature of a mirror. When you first look at a mirror, you think you're looking through a window into a three-dimensional space that you don't at first think is just exactly like the space you're in. And then you might go and touch the mirror and then realize it's a flat surface. And then you have discovered the surface of the mirror, which by itself has no content. It only reflects what is behind it. The next time you then look at it, you still see what seems to be a space through a window. But your mind completely corrects that, and you realize it is just what is behind you, illusorily projected on a flat surface, and even with left-right reversed. And you see it with a double vision of you see the details there, and yet you know that it is not as it seems in front of you, but is behind you. So similarly, when you reach the space of transcendence where everything disappears, that disappeared state disappears, and then you're seeing things again, but now they are reflected on the mirror surface of their disappearance. So this is where samsara seems to be the same as nirvana in a cognitive dissonance embracing awareness, which is known as enlightenment. So the universal vehicle emerges as central to that wisdom-compassion response as it beams beings up into the path to their own blissful reality, free from alienation and joyously competent in their loving interconnection. It is sort of a logical corollary of the Buddha's grand unified theory of emptiness, relativity, indivisible, wisdom, compassion, inseparable, and most advanced expression of the inexpressible, bliss, freedom, unconquerable, that all beings and things be swept up into their own highest immediate realization, unfolding before each and every one in their own particular space, time, as their capacities are educated to evolve and open. What is wonderful about the theory is that when you discover nirvana, you're discovering the actual state you already were in, rather than going to some new and exotic space that no one can imagine.